This happened to me when I was about 10 years old, but even now as an adult in my 30s, I remember it like it was yesterday. My parents had taken my sister and I out to a movie, and then to get ice cream in celebration of my older sister getting straight A's on her report card. I remember my dad had gotten off work later than usual, so by the time the movie was over and we had gotten our ice cream, it was well past our bedtime. It didn't matter though. My parents were happy and proud of my sister. We had a great time, and we took our time getting home. If it wasn't for what happened when I got there, I would have always looked back fondly on this night. We got home around 10:30. Bedtime was usually 10, so I went straight to my room to put on my pajamas while my sister went to go brush her teeth. I remember thinking that it seemed a little more chilly in the house that night, but that's the only thing out of the ordinary that I can recall when I first walked in. I barely had the chance to get changed when I heard my dad yell our names from what I thought was the kitchen. I didn't know what was wrong, but I knew it was bad because I heard fear in his voice for the first time ever. It scared me really badly. I bolted out the door and into the kitchen as fast as I could. My sister was already there, and her and my parents were standing very close. My mom looked like she was on the verge of a panic attack, and she motioned for me to come closer. She wrapped her arms around my sister and I, and my dad was already dialing on the house phone. Then I noticed some glass was on the floor. I asked what was wrong, but they did not want to tell me. My mom said we need to go outside right now. As we headed for the front door, I heard my dad talking to a 911 operator and telling them that when we got home, he found our back sliding glass door shattered and objects strewn about the kitchen. We went to the neighbor's house and waited for the police to come. After a few minutes, my dad joined us. He seemed really shaken up, which was a new sight to me. The police arrived and searched the house extensively. It was a big scene, with all of our neighbors outside and the flashing lights illuminating our entire street for hours. They never found anybody in our house. Whoever had been there had come and gone. The thing that gets to me is that there was nothing stolen. Whoever it was didn't want any of our possessions. What they did was take our canned food out of the pantry and stack them into small pyramids on the kitchen counter. They also turned on the TV in the basement and moved a few random objects to different parts of the house. Very creepy. It was like an insane person had been in our home and did things for reasons that only made sense to them. As the police were finishing up and ready to leave, I heard one of them ask my mom a question. They talked quietly, and I'm sure they thought that I couldn't hear. I pretended not to be listening, but I heard everything. You see, we keep magnetized letters on our fridge. I think I had gotten them from a birthday present a few years before, and we use them to leave each other messages for fun sometimes. The cop was asking my mom if the message on there that night was done by any of us. It wasn't. I watched my mom turn pale when he told her what it said. It still makes my skin crawl to this very day. It said, "Always watching." The police didn't find any fingerprints. They said the intruder had to have been wearing gloves. For the next few days, our entire family was extremely uneasy. I was absolutely positive the intruder was still in the house somehow, that there was a hidden place nobody knew about where he was hiding and listening to us. I never shook that feeling that somebody was there. Within a few months, we decided to move. It was just too scary for us to stay in that area. We moved to a house several miles away. We were never bothered again, but I do still think about it. Was it kids playing a prank? Was it some insane person that wanted to torment a random family? Or was it someone that truly had it out for us and who was really always watching us? Could it have been a neighbor or someone we knew? These questions still keep me up at night sometimes. This happened many years ago, but the hairs on my neck stand up sometimes when I'm home alone, and I have to check the house to make sure no one is hiding. On a Friday night, I fell asleep on my couch, and my husband tiptoed to bed to let me rest since I had been having trouble sleeping and was recovering from a sinus infection. Our couch is pushed up against the wall, just below a window. Our cat often likes to walk or sit on the back of the couch and look out the window. We try to remember to keep the blinds cracked a little so she can see out. Our house is fairly high off the ground. My husband is around 6'4", and when he's at ground level, I can only see from his mouth to the top of his head through the window. Anyway, I was sleeping. A sound woke me up, and in my grogginess, I thought it was the cat fucking with the blinds because, well, that's pretty normal. In my sleep, I kind of rolled over and vaguely swatted at the back of the couch behind my head and grumbled something at the cat. Usually that makes her stop messing around. The sound happened again, but it was different. I was still mostly asleep, but it was a metallic sort of scratching sound. I opened my eyes, still confused and sleepy. I sat up. I turned around, fully expecting the cat to have found some annoying way to fuck up my sleep. Nope. I locked eyes with a man who was prying my window open. I saw from the nose up. His eyes got big. I made a noise. The man ran away. I yelled. My husband came in with a gun, and the cops were called. It turned out that 5 homes in our area were broken into that night. In more than one instance, the man entered a home, poked around, stole things, and left without the owners waking up. Had he gotten into our house, when he crawled through the window, he would have landed on top of me, sleeping on the couch. Right before COVID-19 happened, I had a nightmare experience. My boyfriend and I both moved into this new apartment in Philadelphia. We had both lived separately, and moving in together drastically saved us money. It was the first floor of a very nice complex. It had all the amenities we wanted: pool, gym, and even a dog walking park. After a week of being there, we finally started settling in. Then, one night, my boyfriend and I were fast asleep in our bedroom when I suddenly woke up. I could hear footsteps in our apartment. I'm a light sleeper, and the littlest sounds can wake me up. I listened hard and definitely heard someone walking around in our kitchen area. I shook my boyfriend to wake up, and I told him someone was inside of our apartment. He didn't believe me, but that's when we both saw a man standing at the end of our hallway. My boyfriend ran after him in his underwear and tackled him. He held him down while I called the police. It turns out, the couple who lived here before us had major relationship problems. The boyfriend had been sent to jail for a few months for assaulting his girlfriend after she broke up with him. He thought she still lived in the apartment and broke in. He had a box cutter and duct tape on him. By the way, this was all at 2 a.m. The guy was sent back to jail for breaking and entering. It was a terrifying experience for my boyfriend and I, but I love how reactive he was in the face of danger. What really disturbed me was how our landlord hadn't changed the locks. We complained about this and actually got a few months of free rent. I guess in some weird way, I'm glad it was my boyfriend and I living there when the man broke in instead of his ex-girlfriend, because who knows what terrible things he would have done to her.